What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you another deck centered around Electrode Prime, and that is one centered around Electrode Prime and Keldeo-EX. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton, and let's just do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, I know that the timing of this upload, with it being Legacy, and this question of the day is going to be a little bit backward, but you know what, med school's throwing me off completely anyway, so I might as well just kind of roll with the punches, see how it goes. And that is, how was the last week for you guys, and do you have anything exciting coming up this week? And yes, it's the middle of the week right now, I know, but just roll with it. I did not do this question last week, so maybe it covers the last week and a half in this upcoming one. I don't even know at this point. But as for me, it was a real roller coaster, because I finished up exams this past week, and then I got to see my girlfriend for the first time in 2 months over the weekend, which was really just kind of awesome. We've been dating for about 4 or 5 years, something like that, and being apart for 2 months was really rough, but just seeing her again was really kind of amazing. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit gushy right now, but it was just such a great feeling to be able to see her again after the stress that was 2 months of distance and not seeing each other, and then also just a whole bunch of exams. It really okay, so I'm just gonna get super gushy right now and just say it really did make all that worth it, just to be able to see her for that weekend. So yeah, sorry about the super gushiness, but anyway, let me know what has happened this past week to you guys and what you have planned for this upcoming week. Really want to hear what's going on in your guys' lives. But onto the deck, like I said, it is centered around Electrode Prime and Keldeo, and as usual now, I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter of a deck list. Just one, crunched on time, two, you guys want to see the deck. You don't really want to hear me just blabber on and on for a while, especially because I just spent the last 2 minutes talking about my girlfriend, which, sorry about that. But, so Electrode Prime, I've done a deck on it before. What it is, its Poke Power is Energy Might. Once during your turn, you may use this power. If you do, Electrode is knocked out. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose as many energy cards as you like, and attach them to your Pokemon in any... Excuse me, sorry, I had like a half burp that just kind of... choose as many energy cards as you like and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Discard the other cards, and yeah, so basically you knock Electrode out and hopefully get a ton of energy. And just pairing that with Keldeo with the Secret Sword attack, does 20 damage 20 damage extra for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Then also has the Rush In ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch this with your active Pokemon. So really the whole strategy is just around Electrode Prime blowing up, putting a crap load of energy on Keldeo, and then trying to one-shot all of our opponent's Pokemon. And then we also have a couple backup attackers as well that I will talk about as we get to them. But first of all, we're starting with Smeargle. We have 2 of these just for portrait, be able to get multiple supporters per turn. Helps you get a better start early on, get things flowing, potentially get like ends after you knock out Electrode from your opponent, that type of thing. 3/3 of Voltorb and Electrode, because I mean this is absolutely essential to this deck, but at the same time you don't want to knock out 4 Electrode in one game. 2 is usually the most, 3 is the absolute most, and that's only if you really need it. So yeah, only 3 Electrode, just because normally 1 does the job, 2 if you need it, and then 3 at the absolute most. The backup attacker that we're going with is going to be Mewtwo, because Mewtwo is just something that, okay, say we blow up and don't have a Keldeo on the field, Mewtwo likes having energy on it too, especially with DCEs being counted in the energy that Electrode gets off of Energy Might. Being able to just throw a bunch of energy on Mewtwo or Keldeo can do equally well. We're running 1 copy of Baby Keldeo with the Hydro Pump, does 60 plus 10 for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. It's basically a worse Secret Sword, but this is our way of OHKOing things like Sigilyph and Suicune. And speaking of Suicune, we're running 1 copy of this, because I mean we're already running water in DCE anyway. Suicune allows us to take on EXs more effectively. And then as for the items, for Dual Ball, absolute max number, because that's what we're going to be using to search out basically everything that's not Electrode, because everything else besides Electrode is basic. So Dual Ball is an effective way of getting those out. 3 Level Ball, because I mean Level Ball searches out Smeargle, Voltorb, and Electrode, just be able to get those guys and get them consistently. So our entire search method does not rely on discarding cards, which is kind of crucial because you're running through a lot of cards anyway, so you want to have the resources that you need when you want them. For Junk Arm to reuse stuff, because with Electrode you're going to be discarding a ton of good stuff from the deck that you might want to use. So Junk Arm allows us to be like, okay, so Electrode discarded that, kind of want it back. Well, only with items, but either way, that's still incredibly strong. 2 random receivers. That way Junk Arm can turn into a potential supporter. 1 research record. This is very, very important because what it does, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and you put them back on the top in any order you like, and then put others on the bottom in any order you like. Basically, you look at the top 4 cards, be like, okay, I want these 2 on top, these 2 on bottom, or I want this one on top and these 3 on the bottom. What this does is it lets you look at the potential top 4 cards that you would, well, 4 of the 7 cards that you would be discarding with Energy Might from Electrode, and look at it and be like, okay, well, there's 1 energy and 3 other cards that I'll want from later. I'm going to keep the energy on top, but then put the 3 on the bottom. That way I don't have to discard them with Energy Might. So Research Record plus Electrode is very, very strong. 1 Super Rod, because again, like I said, we're going to be discarding a bunch of stuff with Electrode, so Super Rod allows us to put those back into the deck. As for these supporters, we just have Shuffle Draw. We don't have any discard draw. Just, I mean, again, I've said this over and over, but Electrode discards so much that you want to be able to just have Shuffle Draw, put the stuff back into your deck, and also you have so many energy that you're going to have multiple energy in your hand, and putting them back into the deck is where Electrode can get to them. So 4-3 of Oak and N, and then the other supporter we are running is Twins, because if you knock yourself out with Electrode, then you get a ton of energy, put that on Keldeo, then Twins, be able to get any 2 cards that you want, get set up even better, and then Keldeo takes a huge knockout. You just put yourself in a phenomenal spot. Like, you put yourself down a prize at first, but then Keldeo is now fully powered up. You just knock out whatever attacker they have active, whatever they were getting set up, and you get set up for next turn as well because of Twins. So just a very strong combination of Electrode and Twins. 2 Eviolite to give our Pokemon longevity. We don't really need them to hit harder because, I mean, that's what Electrode does. Just overkill is kind of the purpose of this deck. So Eviolite just lets them, or Eviolite, however you want to say it, lets them live longer. 2 Float Stones for rush in and retreat with Keldeo. 1 Life Dew so that we might not have to give up a prize with Electrode when we Energy Might, or just to kind of give, well, actually it's mainly just for Electrode. That's the A-spec of choice over Computer Search, because every game the goal is to Energy Might, which gives your opponent a prize. And if you're in a situation where you don't want to, Life Dew can be used to be like, okay, I get the benefits from Electrode, but you don't get a prize. And then finally for the energy, 11 water and 4 DCE, just a ton of energy so that we can hit a good amount every time we go for Energy Might. So I ended up talking a little bit longer than I wanted to. Let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Wanpa 2487 with, honestly, I don't know what it is. I mean, it looks like a Ray Eels deck, but there is no Victini. So, I mean, it could just be a Ray Eels deck with Mewtwo. That is always just kind of an excellent mon overall to throw in there. We do win the coin flip, meaning we will definitely want to go first. And, well, I'd prefer to go first when I have, you know, actually something that I can start with. So, I mean, there's that. But my opponent will get a mulligan card. Hopefully I get an N, and I can move from there. So there we go. I do start off with Voltorb, and I actually get some stuff that I can work with, because I can dual ball for a Keldeo and maybe even another Voltorb, depending on what I draw. So right now I don't have much of anything in my hand at all. I mean, it's very little that I can play, but at the same time, it's very manageable. Like, I'm able to get my deck up and going despite not having a supporter, which, I mean, I guess is theoretically just as good as having a supporter. And okay, my opponent, just take the mulligan or not. So we do see the Dynamo, which confirms that this is Ray Eels. So what I am going to do is just immediately grab the Keldeo, play that down, get the energy on it, and then just end the turn right there. I can go ahead and Electrode Prime next turn, hopefully. I don't know why my opponent didn't take the mulligan card. I'm hoping that they didn't just go AFK, because that would actually make me really kind of sad. Because, I mean, we actually got off to a decent start. We're up against a deck that is well, it's one of the better decks in the Legacy format. So it would be a good match. And okay, my opponent does just decide to immediately oak without playing anything. If my opponent doesn't get another Mon out, we'll be able to donk him. Or not donk. We'll be able to knock him out with just attaching the DCE onto Keldeo. Like, I don't even need to go for Electrode Prime in order to be able to knock him out. But he is going to get a Lightning Energy in the discard pile. Smart play. Always get those things in the discard pile early so that you can take advantage of Dynamo or later in the game, have those resources available to you so that you don't have to try to get the Lightning in the discard pile later. So very good play. My opponent probably just looking through his deck, see what all is prized, see what he needs to go for, and picks one out. Hopefully it's another basic because, okay, there we go. So my opponent does grab another basic. That was definitely the smart play. And, so what I can do is, first things first, let's Electrode Prime, let's DCE up to Keldeo, and then I think for the time being, actually let's Junk Arm, see if I can get like a Mewtwo, another, like a Smeargle or something like that, and I do fortunately hit 2 heads, so let's go ahead and grab Suicune that I would be able to keep the Rayquaza from being able to attack, and my opponent just forfeits. So very quick game. Would have been able to take out the Dynamo at the very least, and then the next turn my opponent probably, I mean, depending on how much energy I hit with Electrode, my opponent might not have been able, or I might have just been able to knock out my opponent from there. I have no idea what else he was working with, so probably just decided that he didn't want to play this. And alright, we take those, and let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against a Leo 987. So we'll figure out, I guess, what he is running. I can't really tell based on what he has or just what the types are, but we do win the coin flip, so we are going to get to go first. And this hand is actually not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. What I can do is I can always just level ball for the Smeargle, and we are going to get a mulligan card off of that. So that's nice, to say the least. We're going to be able to get a mulligan card, well, hopefully get a Keldeo or a Mewtwo or something that I can play the Eviolite and the energy onto. But otherwise, okay, so we don't get a whole lot, but we get some stuff that I can work with. I think, yeah, let's grab the Smeargle first. Grab the Smeargle, play that sucker down, play the, actually let's Junk Arm first, get rid of the Twins and the Water Energy. This way I can save Water Energy to get another Voltorb, and Float Stone up this Voltorb, Level Ball for another Voltorb, so that, you know, I have multiple abilities to Energy Might. And then let's Super Rod, just get that one Water Energy back, because we don't want to waste any energy in this deck, and hopefully get a Pokemon we can work with. And there we go. Okay, this works. So let's go ahead and, wow, get 2 heads. So let's grab a Keldeo and just 2 Keldeos, maybe. Actually, no, let's grab a Mewtwo. I think Mewtwo will be good just to kind of load up energy on in the back, just kind of deter my opponent at the very least. Let's Random Receiver, see what other type of supporter we can get. We get an N. And then I think at this point I'm just going to go into Smeargle. Okay, so, ooh, this works. So let's go ahead and put Electrode in the energy in the Eviolite on top, and then the energy in the Suicune on the bottom. Because what I'm gonna do is honestly, I think I'm just gonna try to, never mind. So what I was gonna try to do is see if I could draw into, like, get a Juniper or something like that. That way I draw into the Electrode. And this coming turn, because I didn't have a particularly great hand for Electrode to Energy Might to its fullest potential, I am just going to probably, let's evolve this one, that way I can keep the Float Stone on the field. Do I want Energy Might now? Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, it gets rid of the Eviolite, but I do get enough energy to where I'll be able to win the game. So I get that DCE that I can throw onto Mewtwo, throw 2 energy onto Keldeo, and Keldeo can just brush in and knock out the Smeargle. So that's pretty much going to be the game. My opponent gets a prize, so they technically do pull ahead but because this is the only Mon they have, we will be able to just rush in, knock out his lone dino with Keldeo, and win the game. So, I mean, that would have been a cool matchup, to say the least, but that ended up just being a very anticlimactic game. So, there's that. But, so yeah, not as good of a match as I was hoping we would get, but I mean, it was still okay. Got to show off what this deck can do, and you know what? I'm going to try to find another one, and let's hope that it's actually a good one so I can really show off what this deck does besides just one turn of attaching energy and then either winning or my opponent forfeiting. Alrighty, we have found another one against a Jin Dada with a Metal, Fire, and Grass deck. So, I mean, honestly, I have no idea what my opponent's running. I mean, it looks to be another Legacy concoction that we are up against, which, I mean, hey, those are sometimes really cool to play against, and I start off with actually a very, wow. If I can get... This hand actually can work out very, very well. Because I can Smeargle, I can Level Ball for a Voltorb, I can Float Stone the Smeargle, I can Random Receiver, hopefully get a supporter that is not twins, and go from there. And oh, so my opponent's... Oh, this is cool. Looks like my opponent's running a Ninetales Amoonguss deck, which is actually a really, really cool deck. I mean, I suppose it's technically a Legacy concoction because, I mean, all decks are Legacy concoctions, and of course I get twins! So please have an N or Oak or something. There we go. So I am able to portrait my opponent's Professor Oak's new theory, hopefully get a Keldeo and an actual supporter. I get a Keldeo and an actual supporter, so this works out really well, and I can... you know what I could have done? I played the Oak a little bit too late, but what I could have done is just Smeargled, gotten another Smeargle, gotten a third Oak's new theory this turn. But, meh, whatever, this one is fine. With my Electrode, I should be able to use Keldeo to rush in, and as long as I hit one energy off of Energy Might, I will be able to knock out my opponent's Amoonguss, and as long as I keep my opponent from getting Foongus, sorry. And as long as I keep my opponent from getting Amoonguss, I should actually be pretty good to go overall. My opponent is going to Professor Oak's new theory and get a fresh hand, see what he... Because as long as he doesn't get another Foongus, I will be completely fine and in a phenomenal position in this match. See the Silver Mirror, that's really not going to do much. Well, considering I'm not running any Team Plasma Pokemon at all, so this will be kind of an interesting matchup. We see the Hypnotoxic Laser, so that's a good play by my opponent. Get some damage off on my Smeargle, although I might have wanted to wait a little bit. Oh, cool. Random Receiver, top deck. Let's see what we get. We get an Oak's new theory once again, so this is great. What I am going to do is go ahead and Electrode, play the energy onto Keldeo, and you know what? Let's just go ahead and Energy Might, see what we hit, and we hit 3 energy. Unfortunately, we're getting rid of another Keldeo, my Super Rod, and what was the other one? Dual Ball, so that's unfortunate to say the least, and my opponent will be able to get a prize here, but because, like I said, he doesn't have any other Foongus up, I'm really not worried overall about this matchup. And then let's just Oak, see if we can get something else, and I get a couple other Voltorbs, so I can definitely work with this. Let's Smeargle, and I can actually retreat into Smeargle if I wanted to, but just in case, I am going to go ahead and Secret Sword with my Keldeo, knock out the Foongus, that way that thing has no chance of surviving, and then get, well, Level Ball. That'll allow me to get another Electrode if I so choose, but I really wouldn't want to do that unless I got like a Mewtwo or another Keldeo up at the very least. Not Ninetales, wow. My opponent's running Ninetales. I do not want to run Suicune in this matchup because it really doesn't do much of anything. My opponent right here, he can go for the Hypnotoxic Laser if he wants to, and he has and I actually made him get rid of a Spore Prize Amoonguss, so that is great for me. He might be going for the Ninetales. Okay, he's going to go for the Laser. That is the smart play. Try to buy a turn, and at the very least, and then he's going to end. Well, we both get 5 cards. That's fine with me. My hand was decent, but it wasn't like amazing or anything like that. And I will be able to actually get another Electrode if I want. So I might end up doing that. In the meantime, my opponent is going to go ahead and burn my Keldeo. That's fine. What I can do if I don't get out of it is even just manually retreat. Let's first things first, let's Level Ball, grab the Electrode. There's a couple Level Ball left in the deck, or there's a couple Junk Arms left in the deck, so what I might want to do right here is go ahead and Research Record. Research Record just so I have that in the discard pile. This is good stuff that I want to have, so let's grab Life Dew. How do I want to do this? Let's put Life Dew at the top, and then I can always just... I mean, it really doesn't matter at all because I am just going to go ahead and Oak and hope that I draw into something better. There we go. Okay, this works. So now I can Dual Ball. Yes and yes, thank you. I'm going to grab Keldeo and Mewtwo. This way with Keldeo I can just double rush in, reset like Poison and Burn and stuff like that. So that's going to work out really nicely for me. Let's Float Stone up this Keldeo so that I at least have the Rush In and Retreat. I am also then going to Junk Arm, get rid of the Twins, and the Level Ball for a... Do I want to just grab a Random Receiver for next turn? No, I'm going to grab a Research Record so that I can maximize the energy that I get this turn. Ooh. So let's go ahead and do this. Put those on top. Because what I can do is actually not Energy Might this turn, because I don't need to. And the fact that I'm going to get the Life Dew means that I can keep my opponent from taking another prize. So I am just going to hold off a single turn on that. Just go back into my Keldeo, Secret Sword, knock out my opponent's Vulpix. Because what I know I can do is after I top deck the Life Dew, attach that to Electrode, and then Energy Might, not give my opponent a prize, and guaranteed hit at least one Water Energy and a DCE. So this is, and yeah, my opponent isn't even going to be able to end me right here. So this is actually pretty phenomenal. So gets a Fungus up. But now I have the Keldeos good to go. If he does get... Actually, if he gets heads and heads, he can... If he gets heads and Ninetales, he can knock me out this turn. I think... Yeah, he's going to be able to knock me out this turn. So, well, that is if he can get a Ninetales. Because if he can't get the Ninetales, then I do avoid the knockout, which would be kind of clutch. But nope, we do see the Level Ball, meaning that he will be able to get a Ninetales. So this Keldeo is going to go down, and my opponent's going to take a couple prizes. That Ninetales looks so freaking cool. I'm sorry, but that artwork is freaking amazing. Oh, that's just sweet artwork. That is incredibly sweet artwork. And so my opponent, because he did get heads on that Hypnotoxic Laser, is going to be able to knock me out in conjunction with Poison. So that's unfortunate right there. Luckily, I can actually take advantage of N this turn, because what I can do after my Keldeo, you know, gets into the discard pile and I cry, is bring up Electrode, go ahead and Energy Might, because I know I'm going to hit at least 2 energy, end up hitting 3, which works out pretty nicely, and I can always... So how do I want to play this? So I think let's go ahead and put the DCE onto the Mewtwo. Let's actually load up the Mewtwo, because Mewtwo will be able to knock out the Ninetales. And this way I can just keep this Keldeo out of harm's way. I do get another Level Ball, or I do hit another Dual Ball, so let's go ahead and grab Electrode, play that down, and then just end. My opponent will stay having 3 cards, and I'll get another couple cards. And I do get actually a Water Energy as well, so I could have attached to the Keldeo, but I think for the time being... Let's go ahead and put this on Mewtwo. That way even a completely healthy, no energy Ninetales or Amoonguss cannot avoid being knocked out, and then I can always just attach energy to Keldeo. Slowly in the background, Junk Arm for Super Rod to get energy back into the deck if I need to. So right now I'm in a great position. Like, even though we're tied on prizes, my opponent will not be able to have another attacker this turn. If he gets an Amoonguss, I will be able to rush in and retreat. If he doesn't, then, well, Mewtwo's just going to be able to knock something out, and the fact that my opponent can't take advantage of N means that my superior setup is going to put him in a very bad spot. We do see the Tool Scrapper, unfortunately, which is going to get rid of both of my Float Stones, so that's a little bit annoying, but not really the end of the world. Because, okay, even if he did confuse my Mewtwo, what I could have just done is attach a DCE to Keldeo and then manually retreat, or rush in, then manually retreat into Mewtwo to reset that. And I am going to be able to knock out the Fungus right here. My opponent, honestly, I think this is just going to be one of the last turns, if not the last turn for him, because he doesn't have much of anything. And yeah, we do see the concession right there. Mewtwo able to come through, Keldeo as well, and that was a good matchup against a solid Legacy deck, to where I was really able to show off what this deck does and what it can even do late game. I mean, Electrode does not always have to just boom early and then that's it. You don't have to just go all in early. It can sustain you into the mid-late game once you're able to recycle Life Dew, get some stuff up. Now, you do run through your deck very fast, but, I mean, this deck's explosive ability and ability to just get an attacker up out of absolutely nowhere is absurd and is incredibly fun. So if you guys have the ability to make this deck, I highly encourage you to do that, especially because it doesn't have computer search. So yeah, there's that. Doesn't have computer search, so it's a little bit more budget-y-ish. Not really, because it still has a bunch of Legacy EXs, so never mind that. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the deck. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.